Welcome, everyone. Welcome to another show of Above and Beyond Affiliate Marketing. I'm your host, Jason Ryland. And today we are at episode 5 of our journey. And I want to say that a lot of people are just wondering that what are some of the winning strategies to affiliate marketing. And I got a lot of emails today about people wanting to know more about building their business and the building blocks of that. And I said, you're here. I mean, we're doing the show, and this is all part of the winning strategies, because I even said in the beginning that we tackle even the most hidden aspects of building winning strategies that will help you discover the most important thing that you have to master. And that's mastering yourself. We have to master ourselves before we get a chance to start building a business. Because if we're kind of messed up, even our best entrepreneurial goals and visions and things aren't going to be anything. Well, if you're, first of all, not taking action for one, you can have all the strategies in the world, and if you're not taking action, well, then you can pretty much forget it. But this stuff that we're talking about, guys, is more important than your operations and your product development. It's more important than actually your accounting information and your Excel spreadsheets. And there's so much stuff on YouTube that you can go down a rabbit hole and get completely lost in. But this show will give you exactly what you need to finally experience the true freedom that not only comes with affiliate marketing, but that comes with business and the math. If even those who to master the success of this, you have to have some stability, right? In order to get this stability and to get that prosperity that you're looking for, you're going to need the tools to straighten that out. And we talk about going through life, going through tough times, what we do with it, how we turn failures into successes. And that actually leads us into episode 5, because I want to talk to you about resilience and overcoming obstacles. Because if there's anything that has been established in any of these episodes, is that the fact that adversities, problems, or challenges, whatever you want to call them, are just inevitable, guys. You know that. Things happen. And have you ever been curious why that some people crumble in the face of adversity while others are just calm? The difference between people who crumble, let's say that word, and those who stay calm is kind of that where that line is, where that resilient factor lies in, okay? Now, people who are resilient had developed that grit to become that bouncing back, right? They have the grit to bounce back from whatever's happening at that time. And that's part of that resilience. And they handles the ups and downs of life, right? Now, life happens, as we all understand that, but it really presents two choices. And one of the choices is just that you can be strong and you can emancipate yourself, and you can free yourself from that negative part that we had talked about earlier, or you can let yourself become paralyzed by that fear and you can't move forward. You're just just done with that, and you let your emotions really wreck you to move any further than where you are. And you have to turn these challenges into successes. And that's where we learn to build resilience. Now, let's talk about the word resilience. What does that mean? And the easiest way that I can explain it to you in my version, besides the dictionary version, or the Google version, I say the dictionary. Am I that old school? Open up a book and find it. Anyways, the concept of resilience is, it's kind of shifted in the past decade because of scientists' definition of it. And resilience has always been controversial. Okay, so some researchers say or claim, because I was doing my research, my due diligence on the fact that it acts on the actual traits of the individuals, right? While others believe that it is a dynamic process influenced by evolving contextual variables and exchanges between two people, okay? Oh, this is going to be confusing. I already know it just by listening to my own self talk. But it's in this contemporary means, really, it refers to coping well with stress, right? So whether it's a threat, whether it's a tragedy, or a trauma that brings that adversity, okay? Now, the major attribute that resilience centers on is how you recover from that. How do you bounce back from that? And that's all part of the resilience, right? And it's important because we are all living right now, just because of technology, whether you like it or not, we're living in a fast-paced life. And we always feel the need that we always have to catch up. Or if we feel the need that we're left out of something, and we have this existing pressure upon us on all sides. It almost seems like all the time. I mean, you know, you gotta get up in the morning, you gotta go to work, you gotta, you do your things at your job, and there's pressures there, and then you gotta get gas in your car, and the gas prices there's this continual pressure. I hope I'm getting through to you guys, because people are now largely depending on coping strategies and problem-solving skills. And so when you go through your everyday life, you have to manage and kind of expect high expectations, because you have to find yourself not so stretched out. You have to jostle kind of yourself between different things always. And to get through the rough and the tough times, you're going to have to find where that resilience factor is, because that's going to be vital. And we're going to go through today of why we need that. Because we need to turn your failures. I always say failures turn to success. I usually don't use that word in the office or on my... I use it kind of delicately, because I see failures as stepping stones. I see failures as opportunities, and I see failures as a way of success. And of course, we all know that old adage or analogy of Thomas Edison was once asked, why did it take you, 10,000 times to invent the light bulb? Excuse me for the pause. And, well, if he stopped at one time and he gave up, he says, I didn't fail 10,000 times. He goes, I learned how to, I had successes 10,000 times. I know I just messed that up in my own head just thinking about it, but you guys get my gist, right? We all know that the road to success isn't smooth. You have to have your respective failures within this. And there's an array of things that that can get us off track. And it's nothing uncommon, guys. But if you don't want, if you don't want to do the exercise, or if you're not willing to try, and fail if you must, right? But I'm telling you, if by giving up and internalizing those failures, you just don't have the capacity to get yourself up after all of this, and you're being knocked down by adversity in a sense. Just a knockout punch. Adversity's got you paralyzed. But resilient people understand that they're not defined by the failure, because the failure is part of life. Now, remember, by definition, resilient people don't think that that they're failing. It's again that stepping stone. And studies have revealed that you enjoy more momentum to thrive when you try and try. And then when you succeed through those failures is when you break through that ceiling, right? Because failure is just like steps on the stairs, that will connect you to the top wherever you're going. Ever go up a stairs too fast and you slip on one, and all of a sudden you're like, boom. Do you call that a failure? Well, some people would. You couldn't get up the stairs right. It depends your perception. Like, oh, I forgot how to walk up the stairs now, But it wasn't a failure. You just had to get your foot in the right place to step. You kind of pre-stepped that step, and then you had a little tumble or a little fall, if you will. Anyways, I just know that when you have developed an internal control over this, you will develop an internal part of yourself that will automatically, when you keep practicing this, you'll be resilient. And I probably butchered that, but who do you think controls your happiness? See, your effectiveness is overcoming life's challenges, and you'll determine by your response to the question I just asked you. Now, if you feel you're not the CEO of your own life, anybody can come and start bossing you around, and when you acknowledge yourself as the CEO of yourself, nobody can come up and give you orders of how you must be. As a result, you become stronger, more powerful, and more poised to bounce back from life's blows, right? Now, I want you guys to build on this and build positive attitudes, and you have to have a positive belief structure. Life is very hard for those who believe in the negatives. It just is for them. And if you're listening to this show and you're that type of person is always kind of a negative person, it's got to be tough. It really is, because you're fighting everything, and you believe that the very definition of resilience is impossibility to you guys, and nothing good can come from it. It just is. You can be mad at me if you want, but that's just it. Not only just, of course, I've done the research, but I don't have to do the research on that one, because that one is just self-limiting. And it's really what ends up happening, that you've developed a pattern which is rooted in painful life experiences. And resilience helps you snap out of that negativity, because it makes you thrive on the positive. And it really awaits you to be resilient. And when you have so when you keep practicing this, let's say you are a negative person, and that's just fine, and this is where you are, and you want to get out of that definition of impossibility, right? So as you continue going, and you stop self-limiting yourself, and you practice these patterns, you kind of see them, that you can take it and master it. Because when you have the positive emotions and you start doing that through your experiences, you're going to get past the blue days. I call them the blue days, and you'll enjoy fruition on leaning on your support system, if you have one. And if you don't have one, get one, because they will hopefully keep your head up high. And embrace change. I mean, it's so important to embrace change these days, because that's one thing that is constant, is change. And when I say constant, it's because it's bound to happen, right? Like it or not, change is going to happen, and it's up to you to take it or leave it. But if you take it, you enjoy peace. If you resist it, you invite chaos. And I don't know how to tell you guys this, but how do you handle life's changes? Write a message, put it on the show. We'll air it, because are you always that person that's trying to resist that change? Because if you want to flex your muscles, be all buff, and then as Superman or Supergirl, you'll be exposing yourself to a lot of suffering and pain. If you're always trying to resist or ignore that pain, you're just gonna find a headwind of tragedies. Now, people who are resilient do not resist these changes, and rather they accept the changes, and they focus on what is in their capacity to control, because you can't control anybody but yourself. And for some of you, that's a huge one too. That's probably another show to cover. But within this, resilient people really enjoy a relaxed life, and they have more peace, because there are more simpler ways that you can cultivate this resilience. Because I'm sure right now you guys are thinking of ways. We're part of that show where you can become resilient right now. And thankfully, there are simple things you can do to build and cultivate this resilience. And I want you to have a support system in place. Because especially if you're coming from that, you're always a negative type of person, you're going to want to have remember that song, Lean on Me? You're going to want a support system that you can lean on, because everyone needs somebody to lean on. And I think that person who sung that song, Lean on Me, is Michael Bolton, to give him credit. Of course, you cannot be a lone wolf in this, because I know you enjoy your privacy, and you probably never, you feel undervalued, and you feel the importance of your support system is kind of failing you. But I have to tell you, your support systems, healthy ones, mind you, are going to lift you up, and they care about you. And they can be your friends, and they can be your business partners, or they can be your spouse, they can be your family. And when they love you, love them back too, and appreciate them, because they'll be the shoulders you'll be leaning on throughout this, and especially if you're feeling down. And they don't join in on the pity party that you're having. They challenge your pity party. That's true family. That's true love right there. Because nobody wants just somebody like, yep, you know, if you're in a bad situation, you can have a better support system in place. And seek out new social relationships, but be sincere. No one can live alone all by himself or herself, because if you feel that you don't have a genuine support system, then you need to start seeking out new relationships. And this is not about desperation, mind you, but it's a deep quality in relationships that you're looking for, and because you want it to be very helpful in making you feel stronger and loved. And I know sometimes it's hard to do right off the bat, because especially if you have trust issues, but if you practice self-care and if you're feeling underappreciated, undervalued, the importance of self-care it's something you have to search for, because some of us would rather be nice to others but be terrible to ourselves. I was one of those people. I was great at I was the go-to guy. People like, just ask Jason, he'll help you. Just ask Jason, I would jump up and help everybody. And and late at night, I'm thinking I was such a failure. I would have business success and everything else, and I beat myself up day in and day out how I was just a horrible, horrible person. And I told myself it's time for a change, and I started taking care of myself. Of course, part of that was I was an alcoholic, for many years, but, now I'm sober 4 years. So it's important to improve yourself and start taking care of yourself out there. And I'm going to say, you have to eat, you have to sleep, you got to take care of your mind-body connection. And I also want to say that in my life, is God, Jesus Christ, you have the Heavenly Father, you have Jesus Christ, you got the Holy Spirit, and I can sit and meditate on the experiences and things that I have, and Scripture. And I can go ahead and do that to improve any emotional, it's kind of emotional regulation. Because life can be a roller coaster, and as you all know this, there's tons of emotions that you go through each and every day, from fear to anguish to anger to hopelessness to anxiety to depression. The list goes on and on and on, and there are tough emotions. Even love and and they're tough. They're tough. But when you face things when they're tough, and you can let yourself sink into these feelings. You can work on managing these things, and you will not let the emotions manage you. You manage them. Because there's many times, even in my life, that you have to keep your emotions in check, especially in a stressful situation. You can't run and hide. You got to face it head on, and you're not going to back down and let your emotions get the best of you. You got to have faith and trust that what you believe is the impossible is possible, right? And please laugh. Also, I know we got serious there for a minute, but laugh, guys. Life is too short. Don't wallow in sadness. Don't be that negative. I mean, there's bad things that can happen, but overall, whenever you think of something bad or negative, think of something funny. Replace that thought with another. And see, we're laughing right now or smiling. Another. Anyways, connect with your sense of humor. And sometimes all you may feel better with just a little dose of laughter. I like dry humor. My wife and I are funny. We crack each other up, but we got a dry sense of humor. Sometimes we think that nobody else gets us because of that. But it helps us stay flexible, right? We embrace it, and that's okay. And talking about embracing, we have to embrace change, guys. We have to wrestle against what we know that we cannot change, because nothing that we try and change, everything we cannot change, and it's a pure waste of time. Because we know we can only change ourselves, numero uno, and yet we try and change all the things around us to fit our needs, but that's what we shouldn't do. We have to become resilient and control our own selves and embrace change and be flexible, right? Because rather than letting abrupt changes crush us, we have to adapt to them and stay afloat. Now, we've even talked about business plans on this show. And I've always said, yes, have a plan, have a goal, know where you're going to be, and put a date at it so you know when you're going to accomplish these things. But be flexible with it. If it doesn't go according to where you want to be, don't get stressed out about it. Just sit back, reevaluate, and be optimistic about staying on your path, right? And it always pays off. Always does. To become resilient, you must learn to maintain a positive outlook. Now, that's our show for today. Thank you for joining us. And tomorrow, you're going to love this. We're going to do some simple things that you can do to get inspired. All right. Now, I am Jason Ryland. I am your host of Above and Beyond Affiliate Marketing. We'll see you tomorrow. And remember, may you always forever be richer. God bless. And we'll talk to you tomorrow. Take care. Bye now.